Assassin's Creed, maybe you've been around since day one on PlayStation 3 when you was playing as Altair going through Jerusalem. Maybe you remember climbing those huge walls. It was a groundbreaking game. I mean, nothing else was like Assassin's Creed. Running around Jerusalem as Altair, the story, the involvement in the players, it just felt right. It felt comfortable. It was a lot of fun for a lot of people. That's what made Assassin's Creed the big franchise that it is today. Um, and then, you know, jump over to Assassin's Creed 2, the Ezio collection. And wow, 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 the Ezio collection. Run from all the way Assassin's Creed 2 to Brotherhood to Revelations, we were very, very involved in Ezio's life. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a wonderful story. The gameplay felt good. At times the melee didn't feel very challenging, but you grow out of it and they learn, and supposed to improve. And then so on and so forth. But whether you're a fan of the way that the direction that Ubisoft was going with Valhalla and Odyssey and Origins and stuff like that or not, Mirage has got a little bit of both. So that's one of the huge things about Mirage that I really enjoy is it takes a lot of good stuff and puts it in the game, and takes a lot of the bad out, and it's a mixture of both worlds. So you've got some of the old stuff included and some of the new stuff. So let's, for example, Eagle Vision is back. So we get highlights through Eagle Vision. This is very useful as uh, an assassin in this game. And then you've also got one of the new features that was introduced in Origins. You got the Eagle. Okay, so you can still mark those enemies and stuff like that. Once you mark them, just like these guards right here, bam, I'm back. The guards are marked on my map. So this is all really, really useful stuff to the player, um, and kind of brings you closer into that gameplay aspect. Now, if you remember Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 3, as far as when I say Assassin's Creed 3, I'm talking about like the days where you were playing as Connor and then Edward Kenway on Black Flag. They've they've kind of they're still trying to find their identity to the melee system. Okay, so the melee system is still feels clunky in a way, but they brought some neat features back in, just like the parry system, so you can parry and then one shot your opponent. Some opponents, not all, but some of them. This is definitely not one of those where you play as Altair, Ezio, and Edward, and you take on 40, 50 guards and stuff like that. It's just I guess you could say Bassam's not that type of assassin. He's a slower pace, 4 or 5 more stealthy. So if you're into the more stealthy gameplay, this one right here is probably right up your alley because you've got to be very, very particular about what you do. Now, one of the other things is the parkour. The parkour is no more where you can just run up whatever you want to run up. See how you move to the left right there? You've actually got to have something to grab onto. So you have to really, really pay attention to what you're parkouring. Okay, there's no more just running up a blank rock with nothing to hold on to. So, me personally, I like that type of parkour because it seems a little bit more realistic, and that's one of the things that this game kind of shines on is it has some sort of realism within the game. So, you've got the uh, vertical ascension, descension system again. So, mashing up and then whatever you're like on. This is PS5, so X and up makes it where I climb. Uh, Circle and down makes it where I descend. So, they've kind of kept that in. I kind of like that. It makes it feel more smooth. And then you've got the stealth system where you can hide in the bushes and you can sit on the benches or get in a crowd of people and blend in and stuff like that. So they've incorporated a lot of good stuff that was in the other games, and kind of did away with a lot of the stuff that fans of the series really didn't enjoy. Um, so that is a huge, huge benefit. Um, but going further on the Assassin's series, the Assassin's Creed series, and the franchise itself, One thing that this game, and I hate to say it, I really do. One thing that this game really, really lacks is storytelling, and it seems like more and more larger companies are struggling to tell, a story. I don't know if the writers are getting lazy or what's going on. The game just wasn't in development that long, um, but the story itself is compelling in a sense, but big but it doesn't draw you to the characters. So if you remember the Ezio collection, if you're a big fan of Altair, Ezio, Connor, and stuff like that, the story draws you to those characters. It makes you invested in those players' lives. Therefore, you feel like you're a part of them. And if other characters are introduced into the story, you become deeply invested in those characters that are brought into the story. Mirage doesn't really have that. There's people in Bassam's life here that if you meet and something happens to them, you're not really that invested in them. You're just like, okay, let me go see what's going on in the next part of the story or the investigation. So there's that aspect. Um, so it's lacking character involvement in the story is one of the hardest parts. Now, talking about some of the old stuff, one of the good things about Assassin's Creed, the very first one that came out on PS3 when you're playing as Altair, which was pretty cool, you had to investigate your targets. Okay, so now they've involved that system back, but it's not necessarily great. So you have an investigation menu, and there's different things to track within that leads you to ultimately your target. And once you eliminate your target, the case is closed. So there's that style. It can be fun. It can be, I don't know. It's not. Sometimes it's just not that involving because of the character. You don't really have that investment of I gotta find these guys because of this. If you get what I'm saying, if you play it, you would definitely understand what I'm saying. But there's just no investment into the characters, other than Bassam, and Bassam's not really that compelling of a character in my opinion, just because the game doesn't lead you up to being involved in Bassam's life that much. I mean, you get a little glimpse of what he was doing before he joined the Hidden Ones, and that's about it. So there's that, definitely. Um, One great thing, speaking of quests, is there's not 5 million side quests to do anymore to progress in the story mode. That feels really good. That was one of the things that I absolutely hated about Odyssey, Valhalla, um, even Origins. I loved Origins, but hated I hated having to do 5 million side quests. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. If I'm in a hurry to do something, such as find certain people or anything like that, it doesn't make any sense that I have to do 6, 7 side quests to, accomplish one story mission. It just didn't feel good. And that's another thing. You do have the inventory system, just like, the uh, Origins and stuff kind of had. Um, it's it is what it is. Me personally, I'd rather just find stuff, put it on, find this particular blade, use it, and upgrade it. I don't want a whole lot of loot where it's boring, but I don't want, you know, a bunch of useful or unuseful loot or just not really find any loot. That's one of the things that holds this game back. There's not a whole lot of benefit to finding or doing or whatever. It's just kind of story progression, if that makes sense. So once again, it is what it is. There's very, very, very few cons about this game, but the cons that are there, it kind of rubs you the wrong way. Especially, I don't know if the game was rushed into development or what, but it's kind of lazy on some aspects. But either way, they brought the skill tree back. Don't mind it at all. The only thing is, on this one, at least you're not having to um, unlock stuff to like do a double assassination or anything like that. So there's no goofy. You've got to get this many skill points to do an air assassination, something so simple, or a hidden assassination, or anything like that. It's that part is good. These are just neat little nifty skills you can pick up through the skill tree that kind of makes you feel good when you earn them sometimes, and then other stuff is just kind of like, I don't really know if I need that yet, or whatever. It's it's kind of back and forth. Like I said, I think Assassin's Creed's still trying to find its identity. I think it'll get there, maybe, hopefully, because this is a wonderful franchise. I mean, this has been around, like I said, since PlayStation 3, the early days. I'll never forget playing as Altair. It's one of the best experiences of my life. There's very few games that I remember playing um, when they first come out and really, really enjoyed. And Assassin's Creed is definitely one of them. So I really hope this franchise um, adds a lot more good to it and takes a lot of the bad out and goes back kind of to its roots, but still leaves the good stuff that it found within its not so good roots, if that makes sense. But either way, guys, is it worth the money? To the big Assassin's Creed fans, if you're not playing anything else, yeah, absolutely. But if you're playing something else, go ahead and enjoy it. Save your money for a little while. Let this come down in price, and hey, grab it. It is good. Just don't be heartbroken when the story's not up to par with a lot of the other stories within Assassin's Creed. That's about the only complaint that I got. The graphics are wonderful. Um, a lot of stuff feels right, a lot of stuff don't. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're a huge fan of Assassin's Creed, this is a good one to take on. So I appreciate you stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.